Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be working on a puff quilt. Come along and let me show you how I put this together. This is really an easy quilt to do. It doesn't take much and it's just once you get started, it is so much fun. I start out by cutting my 4.5-inch pieces that I will need for the underneath of the puff. You won't be seeing this part. This will be hidden in the quilt. And now you want to cut the fabric of your choice. You could do as many colors as you want. I picked 3, so I'm going to cut those up into 5-inch squares. If you are enjoying this video, I hope you'll hit the like button and subscribe. Here I just want to show the difference, how much extra fabric there is when you go to sew these together, because on each side there will be a pleat. And right here I will show you what I'm doing. I'm lining it up just to show you there's that much extra. And the bottom piece goes down, pretty side of the fabric that you're using goes up, and we're going to start our first pleat. What I like to do is get it started sewing, and then I use my seam ripper to kind of help me put the pleat in. You want to make sure that corner at the bottom there matches perfectly, and then just form your pleat and sew it down. And that's all there is to it. And on each little pocket, you want to do 3 sides, leaving one side open that we can fill with stuffing. Once you do a couple of these, you will get really good at it, and you can chain piece them. It makes it go a lot faster. There's several different ways you could chain piece it. You could sew all the way around one square, well, 3 sides, then move on to your next one, or just chain piece one side at a time and then just repeat until you get 3 on each. I hope that makes sense. I will say this was such a fun project. I've never done one quite like this before, and I plan on doing plenty more. I'd like to put one on my queen size bed. Here I'm going to show you what I mean by just doing the 3 sides. It's one way to do it. You just have to decide which way is faster for you. Doing all 3 sides on one block or chain piecing one side at a time. And that is how you do it right there. There's your pocket. So you just have to decide now how big you want your quilt to be and how many pockets you need to make. Here I just wanted to show you real quick how you could chain piece them also. This is the other way to do it. And now it is time to start putting the blocks together. The main thing with this is when you sew two blocks together, you want to make sure the seam that you see is covered. So you want to do a heavier 1/4 of an inch to make sure you cover this line right here. You want to go just a little bit more to cover that up. And just like that, that seam is gone. And it looks so good. Just do that on all the seams. Also, I just want to add in here, you want to make sure when you do sew those together that all the opening side of the pocket is not sewed shut. They're all lined up the same. Now I'm just going to line them up just the way I want them. I want to do them on an angle. I think I like the look of that. Once you get 2 rows all set, ready to go, you want to take the first row and you want to fill all the pockets. You want to make sure they're all filled the same or about the same. Overfilling them is not always better. It makes it harder to sew them shut, so you want to be a little careful not to overpack. And if you have an old pillow laying around that nobody likes or is using, this is what I did. I just took the stuffing out of that. It worked great. And now with 1 row filled and 1 row not filled, I'm going to clip them together and get ready to sew them down, making sure the other pocket on the empty one is available to fill, but you are closing up the filled one with this sew down. Now this is our last one, our last pleat on that bottom square. So we have to get it started, then we have to make sure we pleat that bottom one. just like that. And it can be a little tricky just getting it in there because you're holding down the stuffing and all the things. But once you do a couple, it gets real easy. And then you just sew that down and then get ready to line up your seam with the next square. So just take this slow, and I think once you get going on this, it'll go faster than you think. It is so much fun to watch this come together. I really like how this is turning out. Once I get the last row all filled, I get ready to take it over to the sewing machine and sew it down. And now I'm measuring to see how much fabric I will need for the back. Right here I want to see if this is wide enough, and it is. So now I know all I need to do is cut the length. There are a couple ways you can do this. You could take some batting and line that, but I didn't want it to be that heavy, so I didn't do that. You could do that. So what I'm doing is just putting the back fabric on, and that is how I am going to put it together. And this is how I'm going to bind the quilt. I'm just going to roll the edge down and sew it down. And this is how I'm going to tie down the quilt. I'm going to use embroidery thread. This comes with 6 little strands, and I'm going to separate it into 3 strands, and that's how I'm going to tie it down. And now on to the final step of binding it down. It gets exciting at this part because you know you're just about done. And just like that, the quilt is done. What a fun project this was. Look at all those pillow puffs. It was just so much fun to do. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll hit the like button and subscribe. And at the end of this video, I will put 2 more videos that you can click on. Thank you for watching.